Jane Fonda's been called everything under the sun, both good and bad. Martyr, betrayer, trailblazer. Fonda's carved out a spot as one of the most polarizing figures in Hollywood history. Why? Because she's not afraid to speak her mind. And while that makes her a hero to some, it's turned her into public enemy number one for a lot of patriotic Americans who don't like seeing their values questioned. From 1955 to 1975, Jane Fonda's place in America was pretty solid. The country was knee-deep in one of its most controversial wars, the Vietnam War, and people were starting to doubt the shaky reasons for getting involved in the first place. But Fonda wasn't just sitting back and watching things unfold. She jumped right into the political fray. She hit the streets, joining rallies, and becoming a loud voice against the war. Then, in 1972, she made the move that would define her activist career, getting photographed on a North Vietnamese anti-aircraft gun during a visit to Hanoi. Suddenly, Fonda wasn't just the glamorous star of Barbarella anymore. Her picture-perfect Hollywood image clashed head-on with her political stance, and those who adored her for her on-screen beauty and charm quickly turned on her. She wasn't the simple, sweet starlet anymore. She was someone who had something to say, and that didn't exactly sit well with Hollywood. Naturally, a lot of men who had idolized her as their wartime pinup weren't thrilled about it. They wanted the old Fonda back, the one who fit their perfect feminine ideal, not this new version with real things on her mind. And then came that photo in 1972, the one that turned everything upside down. Fonda, perched on a North Vietnamese anti-aircraft gun, became Hanoi Jane overnight. For a lot of Americans who supported the war, this was the ultimate betrayal. Hollywood wasn't any more forgiving. Once that image hit the newsstands, she was out, virtually blacklisted. No one wanted to work with someone who, to them, had crossed a line you just didn't cross. Years later, Fonda came clean about the whole situation, and you could tell it still weighed heavy on her. She talked about how, after 2 exhausting weeks in Hanoi, she was totally wiped out. Somebody led her over to the anti-aircraft gun, and before she even realized what was happening, she was sitting on it. The cameras went off, and that photo was everywhere. Whether it was a setup or just bad timing, she owned up to it. If I was used, I allowed it to happen. The thing is, back then, speaking out against the war wasn't some wildly radical move. By the time Jane made her infamous trip to Hanoi, pretty much everyone agreed Vietnam had turned into a total mess. And sure, it took guts to go, but Fonda wasn't the only one. People like Joan Baez and Susan Sontag also made their way there, and they weren't exactly quiet about it either. But when Fonda got back to New York, and that photo hit the front page of the New York Post, all hell broke loose. The backlash wasn't just about her stance on the war, it was personal. Male commentators zeroed in on her looks, criticizing everything from her speech to how often she smiled, or didn't. In their eyes, her real crime wasn't the anti-war stuff. It was ditching the Barbarella persona they still wanted her to be. And so, like so many women in the spotlight, Fonda had to apologize. A lot. She expressed remorse over and over, on TV, in interviews, even in her book. It became almost routine, popping up every few years. But even after shifting her focus to other causes, it always felt like she could never shake the shadow of that one moment.